Hello, everyone. This is GFan84, also known as TJ. Um, how's everyone's Saturday going? And today is International Cat Day. So if you guys have if you have any cats, give them a big hug. So today, just talking about general stuff. Going about movies, current events, that kind of thing. So give you a bit of story with me. I was actually in the hospital a couple days ago, and I kind of, you know, my health hasn't been the greatest, so been trying to fix that and having all that kind of stuff happen. It's kind of crazy, but hopefully I'll get better here soon. But anyway, so on to current events. One thing I saw that's kind of interesting is that it seems like they repealed a law saying that movie studios couldn't own. Oh, we got Matt here. Hold on. Hello.
Hello.
How are
Hey,
you?
I'm doing okay.
Oh, well, welcome to the channel. I appreciate you coming down.
Hey, no problem.
Oh, thanks. So, how's your Saturday going?
Been a little quiet today. Well, kind of
No.
overdue.
Oh, I got you. Well, sometimes quiet is a good thing.
For me, quiet is always a good thing.
Yeah, there you go. And today is International Cat Day, so if you have a cat, give them a hug.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, it's all over Twitter. They
Sweet.
have a day for. They have literally a day for everything now.
Oh yeah, I love those things. Sometimes because sometimes you need a cheap excuse to celebrate something, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like it's like they have what National Donut Day and Hot Dog Day
Yep.
and what have you.
I've even mentioned it on my channel with a couple of the my cooking episodes. Yeah, I was going to do this, but it's National I don't know, Bacon Day, so let's do
Oh,
this
okay.
recipe instead.
Yeah, that's one thing I actually been wanting to do. I want to do a couple recipes that I I know and have them filmed on for YouTube, but I need to find someone to either I need to find like a static camera or something.
Hmm. I
But
just I used to have a cooking blog, so it was the natural transition for me.
oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool. So, what's new with you? Anything, any news or anything newsworthy, lately?
And the fact that finally started getting some videos back up on my channel.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like I was saying earlier on the chat here, been I was in the hospital and I had been having some health problems, but hopefully they get cleared up soon.
What to do?
Yeah, but no, I was talking about um what was it? Oh, did you see the article it was posted on Twitter? Um, it was about how they repealed the law that says that like movie studios couldn't own like movie theaters.
No, I didn't see that one.
Yeah, so back in like the 20s and 30s and all that, movie studios owned their own movie theaters,
Mhm.
and you know eventually those got broken up because it was considered a monopoly and that kind of thing because they were getting too much power. Well, now they're repealing that and stating that they will be allowed to own their own theaters. So, what do you think about that?
Uh, I honestly, I don't, it's not like my opinion will make a huge difference or another, but really, I don't think that's a great idea. I mean, I think it'll skew the numbers.
Hmm. Right.
Any company can now turn around and say, "Oh, see, we made this much." Like,
Yeah.
well, if you're only putting your own movies out,
Right. I think and that's the thing. Like on Twitter, I was actually surprised. Most people loved the idea, but at the same time, they're loving it for the wrong reason. I think what it is like, your movie theater chains like AMC and other ones, you know, it's true. Their customer service isn't that great. A lot of times their theaters aren't cleaned very well, yada yada yada.
Mhm.
But I think they're missing. I think sometimes you're missing the long term effects of this. You know, because like you said, they can fumble the numbers or buy their own ticket seats now, saying, "Oh, we sold out for this movie." It's like I don't know. I kind of also worry about the see where I live. We have like drive-ins that are like privately owned and that type of thing, and they're going to see a hit. They might see a hit from this because what if they don't give them the films to show?
Yep.
You know, because that's a big hit right there. So it's kind of like cautious optimism is how I put it with this. It's like it could work out, but I get the feeling things that are written on paper then turned into real life don't always work out.
And I already think they're fumbling the numbers, so this is going to make it worse. You know?
I gotcha. Yeah, that's true. But so in movie news, as we know, we're having all these movies being pushed back and that sort of thing.
Mhm.
And it's kind of that's another thing that's hitting the movie theaters right now is the fact that they can't even show anything. Even if they were open, there's nothing to really show it but older movies that they'd have to purchase.
Uh,
My drive-in's been showing like all kinds of classic movies like Back to the Future and like
mhm.
Grease and stuff like that.
Yeah, I got a number of friends who have been happy to go watch, a lot of the old Star Wars movies, like, the good ones.
Oh yeah, yeah, the good ones. Yeah, yeah, I hear you on that. It's kind of
Mm.
funny because um yeah, I'm more of a big Godzilla fan myself. That's how uh that's like the fandom I'm part of, and it's interesting because you know because I got to go to Godzilla conventions. I've been to Japan. I went, got to see a lot of stuff like that. It's like a lot of fun. And, what I found with the community online, like with the Panda Menace and all that, very welcoming, very open with everybody. And, I don't know. It's kind of funny. It's like, a lot of my friends are like big Star Wars and Star Trek fans.
Mhm.
Hey, Mongo, how's it going?
Hey, Mungo.
But so I caught your guys' stream with the Harry Potter movies. That was pretty
Ah,
fun. That was a
yeah,
lot of fun to watch.
I'm always happy to talk about Harry Potter, and even better if I actually got people who want to talk about it too.
Yeah, exactly. Um, so which was your favorite book? Not necessarily movie, but which was your favorite book?
Book,
Yeah,
I have to admit, the last one, there was a lot of emotional tie-in with that one.
right,
I admit that one struck me emotionally.
right.
Yeah.
Well, also because it was the end of the series essentially too. So
Oh, the whole I'm not even ashamed to admit when Dobby died, like the way
right,
she wrote it out in the book. Oh
yeah.
yeah, I just had to close it and I cried for a bit because it
Oh
was
yeah.
it was missed.
Yeah, I remember. I still remember when she was writing the last book, and she was getting all this fan mail saying, "Please don't kill Ron. Please don't kill Ron," because a lot of times, in books, it's always the best friend that dies. You know what I
Mm.
mean?
Oh
And
yeah,
so, like, you knew it was going to be emotional, but yet you're still not always prepared for what you read.
yeah.
And I going to the books, probably. Probably the third one I liked a lot.
I love it. That's the third one, which is actually the one we discussed last night.
Yeah.
Like I said, it is definitely one of my favorites. I mean, this is where I really started to identify with Hagrid
Yes.
because
Yeah.
I have that same love for animals that he does,
Right. Right.
and I know if I was in that universe, I would be like right there with him and Charlie Weasley, raising dragons and all sorts of
Right.
things that most
Yeah.
people have the common sense to stay the frig away from.
Yeah. But imagine just seeing a dragon. That would just be cool by itself.
I got a friend on Twitter who's always posting pictures, and every so often he posts this gif of this smoking dragon and flying in a parking lot, and he's like, "You come across this, what would you do?" And my answer is the same every time. I'm getting myself a new pet.
Yeah. You can tame it and ride it to work. I mean,
Oh yeah.
hey, hey, new better way to fly. But yeah, I did like the third one. Probably the best, and the movie did very well too.
Yeah.
But so when it comes to movies, movies that were made from books, like did you find that it was a good adaptation for as the series in a whole as a whole?
The series as a whole, yes. There's a few of the books that, because I understand that they're big books. Some of them are
Right.
really big,
Hmm.
so they had to leave out some information. But some of the side stories became crucial later on.
Right.
So it was even the ones like didn't like where the Ron is our king,
Hmm. Right. Right.
side story.
Hmm.
Yeah, that didn't become crucial later on, but it was important for him for his
Right.
development.
Right. Exactly. And that's always the um, give and take about when books become movies. There are some concessions that have to be made. Even I know that, like, you can't fit everything, every single thing in one movie, or even a couple
Mhm.
movies. It would just be too long of a drawn out process. And as we know, you see, when we read books, I was this was in my psychology class. When we read books, we take our time. We really read into it. When we watch a
Mhm.
movie, though, we want to get straight to the point, the plot of the movie. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to spend too much time on character development. I mean, yeah, it's a good thing to have character development, but when you spend too much time, especially in a movie, people get bored. They don't, you know, because you're watching somebody else go through the motions. In a
Yeah,
in a book, you can actually visualize it as you're reading it.
that truth. I just think there does have to be a balance there. I mean,
Yeah.
overall across the board,
Oh
Ron
yeah.
got dealt a really bad hand
Yeah, that's
because
true.
so much of what made him a good character was left behind.
Right.
And he just got played off as this whiny little, you know, chicken.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, again, it's another thing that happens. Like once you sign over the rights to your book to be made into a movie, the studios the control that. You
Mhm.
know, you can advise, but they don't have to take any of that advisement to heart. That's why if you see some movies that are being made, like sometimes they'll have it written in the contract that the author can come in to advise, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because for a while there, a lot of times, movies that were made into, I mean, books that were made into movies, sometimes they completely throw away the story. Um, did you ever Jaws, directed by
Yep.
Spielberg and written by Peter Benchley. Peter Benchley actually got kicked off set one time because he was protesting a couple of the scenes.
Jeez.
Yeah. So like, yeah, and you have situations like that where it's like there's a certain amount of like concessions and like you said, the balance where it's
Mhm.
like how much can we stay true to the book and stay true to the characters and but still make it entertaining as a movie.
Yeah. Sorry, little
Um,
one came in.
oh no, it's fine, no problem.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Uh, okay, well, glad you're doing good, Mongo. Um, oh, you're in Arizona still. Okay, well, hey, I love the pictures that you post on Twitter too. They were cute. Mongo's visiting his niece or sister, I mean, and it's his nephew, I
Mm.
think. Yeah.
You're gonna hear the little one in the background for a bit.
No, that's all
Sorry.
right. That's fine. It's not a big deal. I mean, it's not a big deal at all.
Yeah.
But going back to other movies, what other kind of movies do you like? Like, what are there any ones that like really stick in your mind that you know had a big impact?
Uh, Anyone who's been on my Twitter would automatically know this. I'm a huge DC fan,
Right,
and for me, Batman Returns was one of the most pivotal for me. I was a Batman fan to start with. I watched the '70s reruns, growing up
right,
as a kid.
right.
So
Mhm.
I will own that I when they announced Michelle Pfeiffer to be Catwoman, I was
Uh-huh.
one of the people that was not happy about it. I'm like, she's a
Right.
brunette, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I fell in love with the character. I fell in love with her character, with how she did it,
Right.
to the point where I've become such a huge Catwoman fan since then. And for me, she is the pivotal of that femme fatale of what it
Right.
should be.
Right. Exactly. I remember my uncle taking me to see Batman Returns.
Mhm.
When I was, geez, I can't remember my age at the time, but I remember seeing that, and I had seen the first one with Michael Keaton on VHS, and
Mhm.
I got to see this one, and it was very good. And what
Yeah.
I was amazed about was actually how far they really pushed the PG-13 rating at times. Where Penguin bites the guy's nose
Yeah.
practically off, and kind of stuff like that. And then I always did like the Michael Keaton Batman, but for me, what really set me as a Batman fan would be Batman the Animated Series.
Mhm. Oh, animated series is always the best.
Oh yeah, yeah. It
Yeah.
that one was like it was very serious and actually a mature story, and it really took like how it was like just mini comic book episodes. It really like solidified like that dark tone and what Batman is. And there's some great character development. Like they actually, would actually have villain focused, episodes where you got to
Mm.
learn about their characters too. And I thought that was great.
That's one of those series that still holds up to this day.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That the '90s X-Men cartoon.
Oh yeah, '90s X-Men. Yep, yep.
Yeah, that there are some that they are. I don't want to quite say timeless, but there's not really. I don't think there's really a better word for it.
Right.
They are iconic.
Oh yeah,
They're
yeah.
having with that one having Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill being
Yes.
the main one, that they became so connected with the characters that
Hmm.
anytime the Joker discussion is up, and it's always, who's your favorite Joker? I know they're always talking live action, but
Right.
I'm sorry, you cannot mention the Joker without mentioning Mark Hamill.
Oh yeah, exactly. And then for Batman, Kevin Conroy. Um,
Mm,
and it's especially now, especially when they brought them back for the Arkham series. the video
Yes.
game. And it's like that made it even more connected to what's like here's the kids that were growing up with it. Here now you can play the game, which has a more mature story, but it's still the voices that you recognize that you remember. And I thought that was great that they brought them back to that.
And that's actually something I'm really a fan of how DC does it,
Yeah.
is that they keep bringing back the same voice actors no matter
Yes.
what the no matter the original the if it's a different series or whatever, they keep
Right.
the voice consistent.
Yeah.
I mean,
They
at
do.
this point, I have said this on Twitter a couple times. Carrie
Mm.
Payton, the one who voices Cyborg, he's becoming for me as iconic for Cyborg
Right.
as Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill.
Hi.
Hey, OG, how's it going?
Good. I
Hey.
thought I'd pop in and say hello real quick. I've got guests and stuff, and so today's been turned out to be kind of busy.
That's okay.
But
It's not a big
I,
deal.
yeah, I said that I would try to make it in, so I'm popping in. So what are you guys discussing right now?
DC.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not very well versed in that, but I do know something. So
You know me, hon. It's get me talking, and it's DC's always going to pop up.
oh yeah, that's fine. Speak your truth and speak your love, girl.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
All right, switching gears, since you had to leave, you're only here for a little bit, OG. So there was one thing I always wanted to ask, and you're very much into the lore of Star Wars.
Yeah.
One of the big things that I always had a question with is, between the Sith and the Jedi. Now, what do you think had the better mentality as far as their interpretation of the Force? Yeah, because you have the Jedi who are traditionalists and more stoic, but then you have the Sith, but they believe in progress, but progress through battle, through overcoming more obstacles, and by pushing the limit. Which one do you think had the better sense of being? I mean, obviously the Sith were evil, and they would just kill you in a second. But if you look at just the philosophical ways that they were in their thinking, which do you think had a better understanding?
Okay, so I believe both were significantly flawed, and both were dogmatic in their senses, in their codes. Okay, but between the two, for myself, and I think the Jedi had a better understanding of the Force, how to use it, to help people, whereas the Sith used it for their own means. And if you look at the original lore history, they were always destroying each other until the rule of two.
Yes.
Well, that's where they're significantly flawed. And if you didn't, they even use love as a weapon. When you get into Legacy of or Fate of the Jedi, they, when you get the Lost Tribe of the Sith, they use love as a weapon. They use any means for power and growth. Yeah.
Yeah, you just started rattling all that off, and I'm like, yep, you're the person to ask about that. Okay.
Whereas the Jedi, they misconstrued like what attachment is versus love, as we've seen in the PT into the OT, where it was Anakin's demise, but then it was also the hope from Luke for Anakin to understand and help redeem him, that you could still love someone without attachment.
Right.
And then so we get into the original lore of that, and then so that Luke shares that with his new Jedi Order, that that you could still love and you can still have family and stuff. You just can't see them as attachments, as belongings, as possessions.
Right. Well, and I think it kind of speaks to, I think both sides kind of speak to the human condition when it comes to what we interpret as maybe love, maybe more on the possessive side, or more it's kind of hard to form a bond without being attached. And I think that's kind of like the hardest thing for anybody, and that's why it makes it so interesting with the lore between the two.
Yeah, like even when you see, if you're familiar with Mara Jade and being his wife and stuff. And when Jason or Darth Caedus kills her, you do see a little bit of attachment from Luke, but not as much because he comes out of it. But
Right.
he goes into mourning, and he mourns the loss of that love, but also a little bit of the attachments of their bond and stuff, because they had
Right.
a Force bond. And so we see that. But then he, throughout that series, towards after she's dead and stuff, and as he starts coming out of it, even Ben Skywalker is telling, and other Jedi masters are telling Luke, you need to snap out of this, that you are succumbing to attachment that is destroying you. And I'm just like paraphrasing and everything here. And then finally, he had a realization that that's what he was doing, and that helped him come out. And he was always the one that was quick to come out of like bad situations or dark side situations. So
Yeah, why couldn't we get that when Disney took over? Seriously, like that.
I don't know.
100,
I have no idea.
200 times better than what we got. That right there. And it's like, they could have just used that exact plot line.
Yeah.
Never mind. Okay. I'll stop.
I know what you meant, but yeah, but it's for the sake of for creative freedom. So yeah.
Well, yes, but it doesn't seem like anybody did their research either. We
Mm-hmm.
were just talking about that, like when it comes to, if I had you write a paper on Godzilla, at least with you, I'd know, you'd actually, research it.
Yeah, I would, but then I would still be like, maybe you would need someone that's more enthusiastic about this and has more knowledge off the top of their head than I would. I would give basically the basic rundown, but there would probably be points where I may not be seeing or realizing,
Right.
compared to you. And that's like when you ask me this about the Sith and versus the Jedi, and you're going to find out like a lot of people have a different opinions between the Sith and the Jedi. There's always going to be one that favors the Sith more than the Jedi. I'm looking at this clearly as a Force perspective of like who is truer, like with understanding. And again, they both had their flaws. They both were dogmatic in a sense. But when you look at the morality of it and how the Force is used for morality purposes, for help and peace and all that, I think the Jedi understood it more or less better.
Right. And actually, the word Jedi actually kind of stems from a similar word from Japanese called Jetai, which means defense force.
Yeah, there's a lot of mythos and lore and cultural lore that's added to Star Wars, and also with like for like Jedi and Sith and the Force and stuff. And then when you look at the Empire and what was from that, you see a lot of like George used like examples from what happened in Vietnam and communism and Hitler and all that. He used examples. He didn't use them, but he was inspired by that to help create the empire.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's wow. He knew his stuff. He was very good at storytelling.
Yeah, he was.
So quick, and I'll get Mads in here with this. So who would win, Superman or Luke Skywalker?
Are you asking Mads or me?
Both.
Oh, that's a difficult one. I think because of the Force power and stuff like that, I think Luke would win. I mean, it's hard. They're both totally different characters from different.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is it a who would win or?
More like obviously they're both on the side of the good, but which one do you think would actually have more of an advantage? I should say, when it came to fighting evil.
I think the Force user would, just by that, because we have Spider-Man. He has some powers from being bitten, and he evolved from that and stuff. And he does have quick reflexes and stuff, almost like a Jedi does and stuff. But does he have like the like danger sense, and does he have the foresight from the Force and stuff like that? So that's a close one. What do you think, Mads?
Did you say Superman or Spider-Man?
I said Superman.
Superman. Okay, I'm thinking Spider-Man. Jeez.
That's why I'm
like, what the hell?
Yeah, I gotta go with Cal on this one, with Kal-El, because he's got the speed that honestly no Jedi does. He's got that hyper speed that compares with the Flash, He's got the strength. He's, you know,
Hmm.
I gotta go with the DC universe on this one.
Yeah. Well, and that's and that's the thing about especially when it comes to comic books and all that. Comic books get reinvented all the time, and like powers. Some of these comics they get way out there where doesn't Superman move half a planet or something?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It gets like so like incredibly like out there. It's like, wait, how can I even calculate that? As far as like doing calculations. But then again, like I've seen like anime and stuff like that where they just blast entire planets in 5 seconds. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not even touching that Superman versus Goku debate.
oh,
I have too many friends on both sides. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going there.
yeah, that one.
So Superman versus like Luke or whatever. I like that. I think that's extremely close. But then when you also explore all of the Force abilities that like Luke Skywalker may have in the original lore, I'm not even going to talk about the other one. He does have Force use for like speed, run, leaps, jumps. So there, and then also too where he can force plant himself down where he's not even moving. He's an immovable object, not even a black hole can suck him in kind of deal. And I've read that in the lore as well. And so I mean that would be something great to see in itself.
Well, yeah, would be a great.
Yeah, that'd be pretty neat. Yeah.
Yeah. And he may not have that lightning speed, but he does have the Force and can be enhanced to move quickly as well.
Right.
So.
But now, now is the Force itself, is that a finite or is that an infinite like entity?
Well, the Force is life.
Right.
So
you're essentially, what I'm trying to get at is, as far as Force powers go that the Jedi have, or even the Sith have, are these not is there any limitations to this?
Oh, limitations to their Force abilities?
Yes.
Everybody, like every single, we don't know our Force is life and stuff, and everybody in that galaxy is touched by the Force, but their Force strength is very different between each other. Like there could be someone that, and I'm going to use these examples, and some people hate them. Is midichlorians determine, like the count of midichlorians in your cells determines how much of the Force you can use, or even if you're Force sensitive at all. Right. So every single Jedi has their own ability with the Force. Like Corran Horn, he can't do telekinesis, but he has other Force abilities that make up for that.
Oh, okay.
We have Tion Salazar. She's not that strong in the Force, but she still qualifies to train and stuff. She eventually becomes a Jedi Master, and she's a historian. And so there's that, so she has very basic telekinesis type skills and stuff. And then you like have Luke Skywalker, who is just as gifted as his father. And so he has all these abilities, but he still has some things that he can use versus, better than others when it comes to Force abilities. And let me see here. Like Jaina and Jason Solo, for example, they are twins, but their Force ability and strength don't particularly mirror each other.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, so, and that clearly shows too as well. Yeah, they may be just as strong or near as strong as each other, but I think Jason is stronger than his twin sister. And they trained together all their lives, so they knew each other's moves and moves and capabilities and stuff. And that's why she had to go get trained. That's why she had to look for alternative training, which was Boba Fett, in order to defeat him. And so we see every Force user, and even Sith, everyone has a different type of level of ability and what they can harness and what they can't. So I really like that, because then it takes away from the ex machina kind of thing with the Force that many people say, oh, the Force is just an ex machina. No, it's not. If you get into the lore, you'll understand that not everybody has the same abilities. When you look at the PT, not every single one of the Jedi had the same abilities, because we understood that Yoda has been the strongest so far, besides Anakin's coming up as a chosen one.
Right.
And so we see Yoda, but he also spent like decades or thousands, because he's like he was like 800 years old in the PT,
Right.
or 700, and so he took a long time to master it.
Right.
And then we have Mace Windu, who's very different, where he can master some abilities that won't be trained with other Jedi, because they don't know how to harness the Force to maintain peace in themselves,
Right.
which Mace Windu does. That's why he can do Vapid and stuff, because he knows how to
Right.
harness the Force, well enough to keep the peace without crossing over towards the dark side using some abilities. And I think that's what people confuse with, like Gray Jedi and all that, and using some near dark side abilities is that when you look at the lore, one has to use the Force to harness peace as a Jedi, and not everybody's even strong enough to do that.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
It's yeah, that's very interesting, and it again, it kind of speaks to the idea that through how these Jedi are trained is also seems to be how they harness what their specialties are,
Yeah.
how they're trained too.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So that's what I like about that. So, that'd be interesting, like I said, to see like a little, like someone do, like a fan of both DC and Star Wars, to do like and who knows the lore very well with, the capabilities of the two characters,
Right.
to see who would win. And, that would be very interesting, to see like Luke Skywalker versus Superman, or even Anakin, like at his prime before he turns.
Right. Exactly.
Mhm.
Interesting. But
Yeah.
so are you guys going to be watching the DC online con that they're having?
Oh, of course.
I haven't decided yet. I don't know. Maybe just to keep up on the lore. So when I talk with people about DC, then I can keep up with that a little bit more.
Yeah, because they're supposed to have like a ton of guests coming for that, and like they're going to be announcing a bunch of different things, and that thing it looked pretty interesting. I know a lot of people were talking about it, because I might stop in to watch a bit of it.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
yeah, like we when it comes to like it's kind of funny when it comes to conventions and stuff like that. It's like they're like null and void right now because of the whole Corona thing.
Yeah.
Everyone's doing everything online, and it's like, geez. But
Yeah.
I mean, at least we do have this capability to do this, see this stuff, online now. Because I remember, like, 20 years ago, that never even think of doing something like that.
Yeah. I just now read Happy International Cat Day. I looked down at the screen because I didn't fully read it, and I was like, "Oh, it's International Cat Day."
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
it is. It's all over Twitter. So
Yeah.
Post pictures of cats if you have them.
Yeah, I guess I'll share that. My cat is she was online with me the other morning on my coffee chat. She was sitting there just looking around and sitting on my lap, and I'm like, okay, I guess she wants to be part of this.
Yep.
Yeah. So, well, I'm gonna go. I have
right.
company, but I thought I'd pop in and hello, Mads.
Well,
love you, darling.
Love you too, honey.
Okay, and I'll talk to you guys later. Okay, and thank you guys and chat. Hello and goodbye. No.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good one.
You too. Bye.
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 So speaking of the the DC Online, is there any from what they announced? Is there any particular thing you were looking forward to?
For me, I'm always looking forward to anything new DC. Even yes, for me, definitely with the Snyder Cut. I want to see what his original version was intending to be.
Oh,
but I'm that person that would quite happily, just sit and I admit I watch Green Lantern over and over again because
right.
This is what I love.
Right.
Even what's considered a bad movie in the thing is for me still enjoyable.
Yeah.
Because I come at it from the fan perspective.
Right. Like they that one actually had, especially with the ending, it had a lot of potential to continue, and it's just they're obviously they're not going to do that continuality at the moment, but it would have been nice to see where it would have gone.
Yes, because Mark Strong did a really, really good Abrams. Not Abrams, sorry.
Yeah.
Dang it. Yeah, Mark Strong did a really good, version. Did his character really did justice. I'm sorry, my brain is not working at the moment.
That's all right.
But and the way they teased it out for a sequel would have been fantastic.
Right, exactly. And that was the thing, because when I was watching that, I actually got excited at the end when they, had it set up for the sequel, and I'm like, then all the negative feedback came back, and they pretty much said it was done. They're not doing it. So it was kind of upsetting to me.
Yeah.
Oh well, being a big fan of DC, do you ever watch the late '80s version of the Flash TV show?
The 90s?
Well, it was like 1990 or 91.
Yeah,
I think
1990s John Wesley Shipp. Honestly, that I've commented, and actually I've tagged him in those comments, and he likes it every time.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I was a huge fan of that series.
Oh, I would stay up every night to watch that show.
Yeah.
And what's kind of funny, though, I don't remember seeing this episode as a kid, but when they had Mark Hamill as Trickster.
Yes.
And it's almost like a prelude to him what he would become with the Joker, because if you listen to his laughs and stuff, it's almost like it's very similar.
That is actually how he got the role as the Joker, is
because they remember him
portrayal
from
of the Trickster.
And
because that the Trickster shaped a lot of what he did into the Joker.
Yeah. And I always thought that was pretty funny when if you watch the Justice League animated, where they Flash and the other Justice League and Batman's there, they go visit the Trickster in the bar, and someone made the comment saying, "Hey, why is your Mark Hamill easier to handle than my Mark Hamill?" But and I remember seeing that because I got the DVD set because I wanted to see it again, and I saw the Mark Hamill. It's like, wait a second, that's Mark Hamill. It's like, wait a second, he's the Trickster. It's like, I don't remember that episode. But and then it's like, wait, it made sense then. It's like, oh, and then he had Crank, who was with him. And I love how they brought them back, for the new Flash.
Yes. And I was watching that with my partner at the time, my kid's father, who is a huge Star Wars fan. So when he did that, "No, I am your father," even he's celebrating, because it was that nod to both the original character and his and the Star Wars. So how they did that was so beautiful.
Yeah, and even the Trickster's theme sounded like the Empire's theme. Like they made it slowed it down and everything, and it's like it was perfect. You can tell they were having fun with that.
Yeah, I will give massive credits to the team who put the Flash series together.
Yes,
because they did so many wonderful nods, including having John Wesley Shipp as Barry's father.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's the first thing I remember. I'm like, oh, that's awesome.
And the fact that they put him back in the suit.
Yeah.
As soon as they showed him in the suit the first time, man, I was a teenage girl all over again. It was fantastic.
Yeah, and it's again like like you said, hello.
Yeah.
But like you said, what's great about DC is they love to bring back old actors who were in their movies, bring them back to have them reprise the role or do a nod to the role or something like that. And I think that's great.
And sometimes you got to have the good eye for it. I mean, Birds of Prey is a great example there.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because I know that movie, it got a lot of hate, and deservedly so. But I can look at it from, if you made a few tweaks, it would have been a good movie.
Yes. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but
They. I
seeing
mean.
stuff like the groundhog, the stuffed groundhog in her apartment, that's a
Right.
nod to the comic book,
Right.
because that was given to her by her first boyfriend.
Right. And yeah, that's what I mean. They do. I mean, they do a very good job at going back and looking at the source material. I think it's sometimes the execution isn't always there. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, yes,
It
and that's the thing. If they had done Black Mask, even if less whiny,
right.
because I wanted to go and I wanted to just smack him around.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
If they had made him into the gangster that he should have been,
Yeah.
that he is,
Oh yeah. Been what
the
much
movie
more
would have been
respectful
completely
too.
different.
Yeah. Yeah. It's again like I said, they have no problem like doing the nods and doing the research, but sometimes when it comes to the execution, it's just whoever does sometimes with the dialogues and the script writing sometimes just falls kind of flat.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, another yeah. Do I will have to say I'm always, no matter what, very impressed with DC's animations. You
Oh yeah.
know, they have some of the best, like, ever since Batman the Animated Series, and it's because that did so well that they had the spinoff, the Superman the Animated Series, then the Justice League Unlimited, and then all the movies that are attached to it. It's like they're just superbly done. You know,
Oh yeah. DC's TV game is so on point, and honestly
hmm
has been for a long
right?
time.
Yeah, and I think that's why, like, especially growing up and watching their TV shows and stuff like that, you just really get attached to them, and this nostalgic feeling when you see a lot of the characters come back for a couple episodes, or like a voice line or two, and like they do some great nods, and even the newer animated series that they have, like the movies and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
They do a lot of great nods with how the stories are and who's who, and it's almost like they're just continuing the story that they already had in a lot of them.
Yeah.
So, but what else was there? So, um, now what did you think of Supergirl, the TV show that's been on?
It started off good.
Yeah,
I was a fan of it as it started off. In the past couple of seasons, it's taken a like real political
yeah,
stance,
yeah,
and not in the way that is usually tackled with
right.
the DC shows. Because normally it's like DC, Star Trek, a lot of them
hmm
they've never been afraid to tackle the political topics, but they
Right,
usually do it with a gentle touch.
right.
And the whole even the whole one season, it was in the past couple of seasons, it's been so heavy handed.
Exactly.
It's been hard for even for me to stomach it.
Right. And I was actually going to say the exact same thing. I actually really liked it the first couple seasons.
Mm,
And, I love the lore. I like how they, really like emphasize, the stuff we come to love about the DC universe. And here's the thing, when it comes to like politics and stuff like that in movies and TV shows, there is a way to do it. I mean, there's a great way to do it. Star Trek, the original Star Trek, did it very well. It's done in
both
subtlety.
the both the original and Next Generation did
Yeah,
it
Next
with such
Generation.
class.
Yes, because it's done in such subtle manners, but yet it also doesn't like force it down your throat. It's very much it. I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, even like movies like if you look back at the original Planet of the Apes, the ending
Hmm.
of the original Planet of the Apes, what the ending was literally a political message about like nuclear war. It's like eventually we're gonna kill ourselves, and the apes will take over. That's literally the kind of message of it,
Yeah.
but it's done in such a good way because it's shocking to the audience but more so for audience reaction than the actual political message. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But even the Godzilla movies, the original Godzilla movie in 1954 was an allegory for nuclear warfare. It
Hmm.
here's this it just in the guise of a monster movie. But again, it's done more subtly. It's like
Shoot,
but
even as much as I'm not a fan of them, and
mhm.
I'll admit I don't watch them because I'm terrified of zombies. But
Uh-huh.
even a lot of those, it's the
Oh yeah,
same message
oh
because
yeah,
most of them, if not all have the same backstory, where
right,
it was a rushed vaccine.
right, exactly.
Hmm.
Yeah, and um, yeah, zombie movies, they can be really good or they can be really bad. It just depends which kind you watch. But you
I
know,
don't watch any of them. I'll own that. I don't watch any of them.
and see, I for me, like I always grew up on them. My dad watched the original Dawn of the Dead religiously. It was his favorite movie of all time. So like, I always would watch it, even though I probably shouldn't have at like 2 or 3 years old. But hey, it was the '80s. It was the '80s. No, it's not going to traumatize kids. No, it's fine. It's fine.
No, I get it. I watched a lot of stuff that as a kid that honestly I wouldn't have my kid watching now.
Right.
Like my dad took me to the second Indiana Jones movie in the theater, and
Oh,
I was like I couldn't have been 6. I had to have been like 5.
okay.
I don't
Gotcha.
even think I was in school at that point.
Yeah. Well, that's a fun
You know,
thing. Like, when you're a kid, you really don't think about that, and then when you're an adult, you're like, "Oh my God, why was I watching this when I was like 2 or 3 years old?"
every time I watch that movie now, it's the same thing. Like, what my dad thinking?
That's the same thing
Or
with
I,
like,
sorry.
yeah, yeah. Oh no, go ahead, because
It's like I have 2 older sisters, and the one, actually showed me, like, I come downstairs and I'm like, oh, what you watching? She's like, oh, you're gonna love this movie. There's a little girl just your age in it. It was Poltergeist.
yeah, my dad was a big horror fan, so like he'd watch late night
Yeah.
all the time, and some of them, yeah, but it's like I'd be scared, you know, to death, and my mom would have to take me outside, and while my dad will still watch the movie, and it's like thinking back, it's like, yeah, really, really shouldn't have watched this, you know, and like the original Alien, and Aliens. I think I saw Aliens when I was like 5 or 6. Again, scares the crap out of you when you're a kid. And then but at the same time, when you're a kid, you really don't think about like the reality versus fiction and stuff like that. You're like, oh, these things are completely real. It's like,
Mhm.
um, you know, but yeah, I as far as like going back to like DC, yeah, I'll always love watching the animated series and the animated movies they have. I just hope that, and this is just a hope, I just hope that eventually the writing that came from those shows might spill the way into more of the live action movies, because some of them were just excellently done, and I just don't see why that they can't.
Actually, this is probably going to be about, some people won't get where I'm going, but hear me out. I think that's one of the few good things that has come about this whole situation is a lot of movie companies have actually had to stop and look back at what they've been doing. That's
Yeah,
why we've gotten, you know, that's why they finally broke down and, you know, talked about, like, finally are doing the Snyder cut. And,
right.
they, I know that they, like, DC has been talking about, they were pulling back off the shelf because they had put the Cyborg movie on
Oh
the
yeah,
back burner. They put it on the shelf after just how Justice League performed. But
Yeah,
now they're actually now they're back to considering it.
right,
The talk of the Green Lantern Corps movie,
right,
which I'm stoked for.
right.
Even
Yeah,
though they haven't even announced who's going to be in it.
right.
I know the people that have put their names in and saying that, yeah, I want in this movie, and I'm like, if that happens, I'm gonna be there.
Yeah, true. But yeah, and I actually completely agree with you. During this whole coronavirus, with nothing in production, they would have to actually go back and try to salvage something for even just financial purposes. They'd have to actually find something because for a while there they weren't producing any movies. Everything was on hold.
Mm,
So in some ways, I know, for as terrible as this situation is, as far as entertainment goes, and as far as what we as fans always wanted, like the Snyder Cut and stuff like that, it's finally coming to light. I honestly, if things were continuing the way they were, I honestly think that wouldn't see the light of day for 10, 15 years. And it
ever.
would be like a direct to DVD, there you go.
Mhm.
Because, some like other movies like, Blade Runner and stuff like that had their director's cut, but they didn't come till years and years after the actual film's release, and it was on DVD and it was as a special. It's same thing. James Cameron's version of Aliens, where it had the extra scenes in it. Again, didn't come till like DVD and Blu-ray and stuff like that. So it's like I honestly could have seen them just waiting literally almost a generation, then say, "Oh, here you go."
Yeah, it would be something like that if they ever did it, because over and over again they were denying
Yeah,
about
they were.
any of this stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. They literally were dead set on like not ever having to see the light of day the way it was going for the longest
Mm,
time. But then, like we were saying with coronavirus, and they're not making any money, nothing else is getting produced. It's like, oh, what the heck, we need to get some money out of it. So there you go.
mhm.
So what do you think about with now? Here's one of the other things though. What do you think, since with the coronavirus? What do you think about Disney releasing like Mulan on Disney Plus for an extra $30?
I wasn't going to watch it either way, being completely honest. If they want to release it on Disney Plus for extra money, go for it. It's still not going to be money out of my pocket.
Right. Well, I agree with you there. I just was wondering though, when it came to that, like, does that set a precedent where now with these streaming services, to people, these companies will just charge like, $30, $40, you know, for you to watch the movie instead of going to theaters, just watch it at home. You know
Why
what I'm
not?
saying?
I mean,
If it works out.
it's I you know that I don't know how it is with other cities, but yeah, up here you can easily drop that much on just the movie tickets alone,
Yeah.
and that's not counting into concession and you
Yeah.
know
Yeah. The movies have
upgrading
been
to whatever to one of the good movies, which
right.
you know.
Yeah. Movies. I used to work at a movie theater, and
Mm,
even back then it was considered expensive. And now it's just like, I always say this. I always tell people, who are single, guys who are single, hey, take your date to dinner and then a movie. You'll be broke, but she'll think you're rich. No, it's true.
no, I know. And like for me, a guy, guy takes me out to the movie. Like if he's paying for the tickets, I'll pop for the popcorn
Yeah.
because
Yeah, because it just
I don't feel right having somebody spend that much money.
yeah,
You know,
it's a lot. Yeah. Yeah, it's expensive. And again, that's why, the other thing that's hard hitting, like as I said, with the way things are, and like how we were saying with the movie studios now being able to essentially take them over, and they're not making any money right now, so these movie companies aren't even in a position to like protest. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's,
And
it's,
given the option, I would
yeah,
be all for bringing the movies directly to my home, fresh.
right, right,
Like I'll admit, you know, sometimes my favorite letter is R when it comes to
right,
movies, if you're catching what I mean. But
right.
I do I do tend to lean that direction, but it's largely because it's not the experience it once was. I
Yeah,
went to go see the recent Jurassic World movie,
right, right,
and sitting right in front of me was this handful of teenagers that
right.
were just video games on their phone the entire time, and I wanted to
Oh, yeah,
smack them.
yeah, yeah. I hear you there. Yeah, it's very different than what it was. When when I was going to the movies, that was considered like a you know big event if you went to the movie theater.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I agree, and again, like in what's truth be told, like we have a they AMC just built the theater that's near our where I live only about 2 years ago. But
mm,
what's being frank, many of these theaters are in such bad disrepair that might be just better to literally close them up and tear them down and build a new one because they're I've seen a lot of older theaters and they're just bad.
yeah. I mean that's actually one that's my closest theater. It opened up in the 90s.
Right,
So the technology, the screen size is ridiculous comparison to what we have now, what they
right,
put out now.
exactly. Yeah,
I mean, it's like you're walking in and you're looking at an oversized TV.
yeah, exactly.
I remember how big that screen felt versus what was out in the 80s. Yes, I'm old. I'll admit that. But like if you
um,
find any of those theaters, just looking around, I might as well be watching it on my TV.
right, exactly. And it again, like there were some movies that I definitely wanted to see in theaters, like this past year, like when I went to see Joker.
Mhm.
Um, that was great. I love that movie. Now, actually, one movie that actually surprised me about DC that I really enjoyed was Shazam.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
enjoyed
liked
that
it.
thoroughly. I loved it.
Again, I admit I will always, lean towards the I liked it when it comes to when it comes to DC movies,
Right.
but I know that one got some flack because it wasn't serious. Like it wasn't
Well, it
serious like
doesn't
the other
have to
movies
be.
were. But Shazam is not a serious character.
No, he's not.
He's he's a
He's a
kid.
kid. Yeah, he's a kid. Of course, it's not serious.
I
Um,
don't want that to be a serious movie.
no, it doesn't have to be. And that's the thing. We don't have to have everything like dark and foreboding all the time. You can
Yes,
have like the lighthearted, superhero movies too, and I'm completely fine with that. It doesn't always have to be dark and serious all the time. Uh, you know,
honestly,
and
I'm happy with it being a little bit lighter, something that I can
yeah,
show my kid.
yeah, exactly. And that's ultimately like the kind of movies you do see with children too. And but you just have, again, like you have some of them that get a bit too much and wrap too much into the seriousness, and then it's like you know way too the level of maturity you need to understand some of it. It's not there for kids, so it's
Yeah,
nice to have a little lightheartedness.
that's the problem. That's what a lot of people are forgetting nowadays. Is that's how fandoms are made.
Yeah, that's how it began.
I mean, I was introduced to Star Trek by my mom.
Right.
She would show me the original series because
Hmm.
obviously I wasn't around when it came out originally.
Right.
And we watched that over and over again until the Next Generation came out, and we never missed an episode.
Right. I remember my dad being up to watch the Next Generation. He really liked it. He liked the original, and
Yeah.
he would always be up for it. But like I said, when I was younger and I watched it, I really didn't get half the stuff, even to 1/3 of the stuff that they were even talking about, because again, the majority level wasn't really there. There was
Mhm.
still like lighthearted, fun stuff that you can enjoy, but at the same time, like some of the subjects they were tackling, it's like I had no clue what they were talking about, and that being a kid.
Yeah.
For instance, like it, to describe a bit more into the Godzilla fandom, you know, there's we have our own, we have developed our own like dogma and stuff that to coin Godzilla movies. Reason being is Godzilla movies are very diverse. Like you have ones that are like dark and serious. You have ones that are lighthearted and funny. You have some that are like crime dramas. I mean, they're all over the place because it depended who directed it and what time frame it was done.
Mhm.
So like the way I got introduced with Godzilla, first Godzilla movie I ever saw was Godzilla 1985, and then I also saw, I think right after that was Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster. I
Mhm.
enjoyed, um, I loved seeing Godzilla in Godzilla 1985. That's what got me hooked. But I enjoyed seeing Godzilla more when it was more lighthearted and funny because I was a kid at the time.
Yeah.
So if it wasn't lighthearted and funny, fun when you first watch it, I don't think I'd be interested in it as much. You know what I'm
Wait.
saying? So,
Yeah, that's it. I mean, like I said, I'd like the serious side of stuff, but you still got to have that. It can't be 100% serious. Not even The Crow was 100% serious. It had its lighthearted moments.
right, exactly. And again, like that's like the cool thing about like you know, I don't know. It seems like you know, for some of the people, you know, like how I grew up or how you grew up, it's
Hmm.
like very different. We had, I don't know why, but I think the mentality in movies was a lot more fun too.
Yeah. At this
So
point nowadays, they're just missing the balance.
yeah, exactly. You know, and heck, like I'm hard pressed to really find much in the way of things that are lighthearted and not take itself seriously, because anymore, the way the climate is now, you have to take everything seriously, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, but I can't say much about where Star Trek is going. I like I said, I'm not the biggest Star Trek fan. I like Star Trek, but like I didn't really get into it. But like, with all the stuff that's been going on with that Star Trek the Lower Decks and the stuff with all the other stuff, it's like I don't
Oh,
know.
I have not seen the Lower Decks. I have had, and this is hard for me to say as somebody who grew up with Star Trek.
Uh huh.
I have no desire to see it. It,
Yeah.
it looks too much like Teen Titans Go, and just
Yeah. The animation was like something from Cartoon
the
Network.
clips, the clips I've seen. I can't.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. It's again, I'm we're not I'm very much not for the heavy-handedness of getting into political messages in movies and TV shows, and especially one that's aimed for kids. It just seems it's like it shouldn't have to be there. Again, if you really think it's for kids and all that, then what's it matter what if the characters are this way, or this way? You know what I'm saying? So
And I hear what you're saying. Uh, but I will raise this point. My daughter and I we were watching something,
right,
and what followed, I don't even remember what movie we were watching or TV show or whatever it was, but what followed afterwards was Thundercats Roar. I admit I managed to make it through the opener and 5 seconds into the actual episode before I stopped it. And I'm
Sheesh.
like, oh, I'm like, that's heartbreaking. She's like, is that good? I'm like, oh, honey. And I put on the original Thundercats for her. And
Oh
we
yeah.
wound up, and it was night and day. We wound up binge watching all of the filmation from the 80s, for the
Yeah.
rest of the night.
Right. My
And
favorite
ever
was the
since then,
original Transformers.
she's been going on and on about, yeah, Lionel never had a hair dryer.
That image in my head. No, that's okay. Geez. Uh, I, I, I'm not. I can't. I can't.
No.
It's yeah. No, I like the original Transformers from like the '80s, and they had a bunch of like great shows. I mean, so
Mm.
many to count from the '80s. It's just ridiculous how many they put out. You know, all these companies and stuff like that. That was like the big thing too. And yeah, a lot of the stuff that I've seen, lately come out. It's like I, I think I don't know what it is about the animation styles, but I just don't care for them in a lot of these newer shows.
Yeah.
Like, there's no detail to them. Like
The,
back in the '80s, I
the
mean, they
animation
put
was better in the 80s.
yeah, that's what I mean. They actually put like effort to like actually draw in details of
Yeah.
these moving characters, and like these ones, they're just the outlines, and it's like that's not really animation. And a lot of times these are digitally done too. They're not even done hand drawn. They're just done on a computer. And it's like, gee, dude, do you guys not like have any sense of detail? It's like
That's the one that kills me.
Mhm.
Is you want to see great digitally done cartoon. Go
Yeah.
back, watch Reboot.
Oh yeah,
That was
I
done
remember.
in the 90s with the 90s technology, and
Yeah, I remember that.
it's still better done than any of the cartoons you will find now. The
Oh,
characters have more depth.
another one that did really well is did you ever see it was done in the early '90s, the New Adventures of Johnny Quest,
Hmm.
where it's both traditional animation and the computer. That was that was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
That was very well done. And again, like it seemed to have more detail than a lot of the stuff now. Heck, the original Scooby Doo cartoons had like amazing like drawn like backgrounds, very
Mhm.
detailed. So like yeah, I don't know. I guess it's more the fact that it's like it seems like they're not taking the effort to do the detail. I don't know, but I just don't like the way the current animation is.
Honestly, there.
Yeah,
There's it's flat,
yeah, it is.
and I'm not talking just about the shape of the characters. The whole animation is just it's flat.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't care. I don't really care for it at all. But anyway, we're a little over an hour here, so I'm gonna be wrapping up the stream.
Yeah, I
Um,
should probably. I gotta make some dinner anyway. So
yeah, I gotta eat too. I gotta make dinner too. But anyway, thanks for everyone who stopped down, and thank you, Mads, for coming down. I really appreciate you coming on the stream.
thank you for the
Um,
invite.
yeah, no problem. But hey guys, please make sure you follow Mads here on YouTube and on Twitter. She's really easy to find. She's a great person, to talk to. So I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But have a nice weekend, everybody, and hope you all stay safe.
Night.
Good night.